All right, so today, joined by Shane Smith, we're out in the shop. You drive for Bob and Lori Scott, but first, kind of, what is your background in racing? How did you start racing?
So, my dad's, he raced for decades out at Skagit Speedway, a little bit back at Sky Valley, modified sprint car. So I actually had a quarter midget before I was born.
Really?
So I had no choice in the matter. I was going to be a race car driver no matter what.
Okay.
Haven't argued with him about that yet. But so I started out in quarter midgets. From there, raced a little bit up at Deming in the 250 class when they had it there. And I pretty much went right from that into a 410 at Skagit back in the early 2000s.
Okay.
After that, I went off to college, took a couple years off from racing, got into some high horsepower dirt oval go-karts, ran a little bit, ran a 1200, and then just kind of migrated into the midgets, driving for Rick and Ryan Coley at the time.
Yeah.
Originally got in with them and then managed to get our own car. It's kind of gone from there.
Okay. A lot I want to unpack with that, but first, people don't know, who was your dad?
My dad is Denny Smith.
Okay.
So, and most people, like I said, most people have seen him around the track, or he had an auto parts store, Anacortes Auto Parts, for 35 years. So, for the longest time, I was just known as Denny's kid. So it's nice to actually get my own name for once.
So you had a quarter midget before you were born?
Correct. Yep. My dad was down at the Portland swap meet, and shortly after hearing that I was going to be a thing, he found a car down there and brought it home with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had no choice, that you were at least going to try it. And if you didn't like it, would he have, I would imagine, probably said okay? Or was it pretty much, hey, this is what we're doing? And
he was never pushy about anything. Okay. So I'm sure he would have led me that direction no matter what. But so the first time I got behind the wheel of that was 4.5.
Wow. So
I started off early.
Do you remember anything from that?
I remember wrecking before I got onto the track.
Okay.
So it didn't bend anything. It was fine.
Well, how?
Up at the Langley quarter midget track, they got a big long chute for an entryway, and I just steered into the wall.
I mean, you're 4.
Yeah. I haven't done that much lately, so I've grown out of that crashing at least.
I'm sure they appreciate it. Bob
Exactly.
Scott.
Yeah.
So you said you stopped racing and you kind of went off to college for a while. What was the reason for that?
So actually, I went off to Arizona to go to school.
Did you go to U of A?
No, I went to Universal Technical Institute.
Okay. Yeah, we're good. We're good. I went to ASU. We're good. Okay.
ASU had some good parties.
Yes.
Yeah. Spent a little time out there.
Yeah.
Good times. I can't talk about those.
Nope.
Nope, we're not talking about those. But no, it was, I almost stayed in Phoenix too. Just because of my first night in Phoenix. Drove, 2 days straight down there. And I get down into Phoenix midday on a Saturday. I unload my stuff into my apartment. And I'm like, well, it's a Saturday night in the summer. We go to racetracks on Saturdays.
Yeah.
So this was a while ago. I called up Manzanita Speedway to make sure that they were racing. They're like, yep, races start at this time, come on out. It ended up being the Western World Championship that night.
Okay.
So they had the USAC cars on the big track. The 410s were on the half mile. And they had the USAC CRA 360s on the quarter mile there.
Okay. Wow.
So there I am.
All in one night.
All in one night. So there I am. First night in Arizona. It's 90 degrees at 9 o'clock at night, shorts and a t-shirt. Watching the best non-wing sprint cars in the country. Dave Darlin put a half track on the field and never made a bobble that entire night.
Wow.
Also, about 50 miles off in the distance was South Mountain that was being lit up by a lightning storm. So you've got that going on. You've got sprint cars. You've got, I was hooked after that, So I went quite a bit down there. But it just didn't make sense to bring the car down. My parents were still up here, so we took that time off.
All right. So you go off to college, you come back. What did that look like for you, though, when you came back?
So I came back, and I had a friend of mine, George Graham, who's raced, quite a few different things, but a lot of sprint cars and done some traveling with that. He actually ran for Roger Henderson for a few years.
Oh, okay.
So he's ran some great stuff.
Yeah.
Well, he had his own car again. He was running down at Grays Harbor, and he's like, "Hey, Shane, you're back from school. I could use a hand if you want to come hang out in the pits." And so kind of started back up with that. The crew chief on that car at the time was Jeff Benson.
Okay.
Most people will recognize the name Buda Kinzer.
Okay.
So if you're familiar with the karting world, the BK race at Salem every year, it's the biggest karting race west of the Mississippi. It is actually named after him. So
Okay.
he was really big into go-karts. Unfortunately passed away while racing.
Mm-hmm.
So the first time I ever got into a go-kart was his first memorial race when we were down at Oakwood Arena.
Okay. And that's what, dirt go-karts?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it was dirt oval stuff. And then that spiraled wickedly out of control. We borrowed a cart for the first 2 years, and then I finally bought one after that. And my dirt karting started running some of the Limited All-Stars stuff, which is what it became. Kind of running all over the West Coast. Went far back as Missouri.
Oh, really?
Doing that, so quite a bit of traveling with that. That was a lot of fun. The power to weight ratio on those is absolutely impressive.
So how did you move then from the karting back into? Did you move straight into a midget, or what was it?
Yeah, I had the Coolies are the one that got me into a midget. I raced race against Robin Coley.
Okay.
Growing up, mainly the 250s up at Deming there. And we've known the Coley family for years and years. I'm trying to think, I think we got connected probably running karts, doing some backyard stuff. I was racing against Ryan with that. We started hanging out a little bit. And next thing you know, they had a open seat for a race and like, hey, you want to come try it out? So I got the opportunity to do that. They had somebody else driving the car at that point in time. But then more race days started to open up. So we did probably, I feel like 4 or 5 shows kind of the first year just as a fill-in. And then the year after that, we did it full time.
All right. So from that, how did you get partnered? You drive now for Bob and Lori Scott.
Yeah.
How did that kind of start out, and when did it start out?
So our family's known Bob and Lori for probably 34 years now.
Wow.
So they're originally from the Chico, California area. And my dad from running sprint cars would race against Bob often, either down there or they always came up for Dirt Cup.
Okay. So they were racers themselves too, or have they always been car owners?
Bob originally drove the sprint car.
Okay.
And he actually has done some other racing before that, but that's where we kind of met him at was with the sprint car. So he drove for quite a while and then has had other drivers since then. They've got Brock Lemley won a Dirt Cup for him years ago, and so. But the first time I really remember meeting them was in 2004. I had gone off to school down in Arizona, and Chris Smelzy, who does a lot of pavement racing and has done a lot of dirt in the past. I think he's been out and helping Tanner Holmes for a bit now as well. But he was running their pavement sprint car at the time, and they were racing at Irwindale Speedway for Turkey Night.
Oh.
And Chris said, called me up. He's like, hey, I'm, going to be running a sprint car if you want to come hang out.
Yeah.
And so the first time I really got to meet Bob and Lori was 2004 Turkey Night. And it was a different experience because, there's Lori. She's got the headset on. She's talking to the driver. She's got the clipboard. Most people don't know this. Lori is the brains behind the operation.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Bob's along for the ride, and he'll laugh at that comment.
Okay.
But no, Lori is as competitive as it gets. And just a true person of the sport.
Okay.
And so it was cool seeing her, in action that first time. It's very different. She's incredibly hands-on and knows these things inside and out. Okay. So that was kind of the first time I really got to meet them.
04.
04, and then quite a few years later, they had gotten into the midget. I think they originally had Chance running for them. They had a couple of drivers, and then it kind of opened up. I had my own car at the time, and we had a pretty good wreck. I didn't really plan on putting it back together at that point, so I approached them about. They were kind of in between drivers, and I approached them, said, "Hey, I'd really like to race your car." And that was 2022 was the first year that we raced together. It worked out well. We won the championship that year, won a couple of races in the process, and we've kind of continued that success. We did take about probably a year and a half off, but it's been nice to be back behind the wheel of their car this year. And their operation is top notch, and they do everything exactly how it needs to be done. So I can get in the car any given Saturday night, and I know exactly what I'm going to have when I hit the track.